welcome back to another episode of Visual Learner. I'm Harland, and this is my podcast. I have not done one of these in, I think, a month. I was looking at my YouTube the last time I posted one of these, and it was a month ago. I have been being a bad boy when it comes to recording these, and for anybody that watches and anticipates them, I sincerely apologize. It's winter. It's a weird time for me in my headspace. It's hard for me to get motivated to do anything lately. I have also been playing a lot of video games, so I have a problem. I have a problem when it comes to video games. And it's probably why I don't play them all that often, or haven't, because I get extremely obsessed and invested in the story and the characters. In the last month, I have played both Last of Us games, both Spider-Man games, and I just finished Dispatch. I'm looking at other games that I know I need to play. I think God of War is probably the next one. And then I was thinking maybe Control. I don't know. Does anybody care about what video games I'm thinking about playing? But that's where a lot of my time has been going, and a lot of my focus has been going. So I apologize. I also said the last episode that I was going to start putting these on Patreon only. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching it on YouTube because this particular episode is going to be very visual heavy. And I don't know that it's going to be all that enjoyable to just listen to, because this is an all photos episode. Hey, all photos. And I'll explain what I mean by that. But being a photographer, I think I have some knowledge and some expertise, I guess, in talking about. There was just a lot of like photo stuff that came up over the last month. Honestly, some of the stuff I'm going to talk about by the time this episode actually releases and publishes is going to be quite outdated. But again, that's just because I've been sitting on all this stuff for several weeks now, and putting off, just procrastinating. Before I guess I get into the photo stuff, besides the video games, I don't know about anybody else, but I get SAD, the acronym, seasonal affective disorder. I don't even know if it's a real thing, but every winter, end of fall, and then all through winter, probably some of spring too. I don't want to say I get depressed, because that feels like it's too big of a word. I just don't want to do anything around this time of year. I was going to make an entire Christmas episode or Christmas video about a Hallmark dating show titled Finding Mr. Christmas. Had all the episodes downloaded, legally or not, or otherwise, perhaps. And I just never got around to doing it because I didn't want to. I told myself I was going to record this episode like last week. I mean, last week was basically like Christmas. So it's just scheduling is weird. And yeah, the sun going down at 4:00 sucks, does a number on my mental health. So I've been sitting on a lot of this stuff for several weeks, but regardless, I have all these notes that I took just to make sure I kind of covered everything that I wanted to talk about. So we're going to do it. I don't care if it's old news, not everything needs to be evergreen content. Sometimes it just needs to be content. Everything is content. Anyway. So yeah, I said this was an all photo episode, and that is because there were several things that happened that not just the internet, but just people in general were abuzz with. One of those things was obviously the Vanity Fair portraits of some of the White House admin, and the way that they're framed and shot caused a stir. And I'm very curious how the people that were photographed feel about these. I haven't seen anything like responses from like Carolyn Levitt or JD Vance about like them not being stoked on the what a lot of people, or what they might say, are unflattering photos of them. I think that every photo from this photo shoot is a work of art. But so that happened, and then there were the Epstein photos that were released that are some of the creepiest, horniest, weirdest shit that like I'll never understand why people take photos of their crimes. And then there was also something that I kind of want to start with, though. There was a video, a TikTok that was going around of this street photographer guy who was out photographing just New York, and this older gentleman approached him. I believe he approached the photographer and went on this kind of really annoying, it wasn't like a tirade or anything, but he was just kind of scolding him. It had a scoldy kind of energy where he was like, real photographers shoot on film because he's using a digital camera. And I hate that line of thinking in photography or any art form, that like you got to do it this way or it's not the real actual way to do the art. And so I want to watch it and just kind of talk about this for a minute. And then I think it's a good jumping off point to go from that into talking about the Vanity Fair portraits. So let me cue this up, and we will do a little live reaction. Well, not live. I've already watched this video, but we'll kind of talk about it a little bit. So here's that video of some guy in New York saying that film photography is the only real kind of photography.
Say again, I didn't hear you.
I said real photographers use film.
The next day I came back here, found him again.
It's not a joke.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding. What's up, man, you remember me?
Yeah, I remember you. Tell me.
Yeah, I remember you. I mean, first of all, this interaction has been broken up. There's like 3 or 4 different videos that this person posted of it, and it's really hard to tell the order of events and which one is the first one when the guy first approached him. This, I believe, is a follow-up to when he first interacted with him, because this is him going back and finding him randomly and having a longer conversation with him, but like just so curmudgeonly, dude. Like, I know, like, if I were that guy, I'd be like, oh, fuck. Like, I don't want to talk to this guy again. I get it. I do get it. But at the same time, if you're going to tell somebody like this, like some kind of advice that is bullshit and easily questionable, you're kind of asking for it to be interrogated more, right? Yeah, I remember you.
I think we got off on the wrong foot the other day.
Let me explain myself.
Okay.
Digital has its uses.
Yeah.
If you're doing fashion, you're doing commercial work, of course you would go digital. Come on, you're trying to worry about your profit margin, you're trying to make money. But all I'm saying to you is that when you're doing fine art, then you use film. We're doing this to make money. Are you doing this for fun?
Saying that one medium, digital versus film, is used for commercial work, right? To make money versus, like, can't it also go the other way that like you could use film photography for commercial work? Why? Explain yourself. I just think it's such a weird, pretentious problem in the photography world, where there are people on both sides, where there are people that are like digital's better and there are people that are like film is better. And it's not a black and white argument. As somebody that has shot for the last, how old am I? Jesus Christ, is it 23 years that I've been photographing? I was 16. I'm 39 now. I think that's the right math. For 20 plus years, I've used both, and I've swung both ways. I've been like, film is better when I was a younger person, and then getting into digital. I mean, I never really shot. You shoot different, I think, too. Like when you're shooting film versus when you're shooting digital photos, there is the restrictiveness of film where it's like 24, 36 frames in a roll that you have to like be conscientious of. And so you're probably not shooting the same way that you would on digital when you've got 256 gigabytes of space and you could fill that thing up with thousands of photos. So you have to be a little bit more intentional. I think that's the only real difference between them. There's a quote from, I can't remember the photographer, that was along the lines of, you could shoot 100 frames and only get one good shot out of any of those, right? So, and I have felt that way. You'll shoot an entire roll of film and you'll look at all the photos and be like, oh man, only 3 of these are like worth showing to anybody. Like if you're shooting it in an artsy kind of way, right? As opposed to just going around like a disposable packaged point and shoot for a wedding. Like again, the intention and why you're shooting, even on the day, like day to day. Maybe you do shoot a roll that's just like fun stuff at a party. Maybe you do go out and walk around your city and try and find interesting compositions, right? You can do the same with digital. You could choose not to shoot as much with digital and be more intentional, but the ease with which you can shoot anything also changes how you shoot. But it doesn't make one or the other better or worse or equates to fine art versus commercial work. Like it's just a silly argument that lacks any kind of nuance that, this video has, it's got 2.6 million likes. I don't know how many views it has, but there's 7,500 comments that are, it's TikTok comments. So a lot of them are just making fun of the guy and the way he looks, because it turned out, I think this guy, he went back and found him again. Let me see if I can find it. And the guy talks about who he, went, oh yeah, here it is. The younger him. Yeah. So this is the him as a kid, or they found like old video from somebody else on TikTok of him as a street photographer going around in the 90s. And the guy says he was 19 in like 1999. And over the course of, the next 26 years, he aged the way he did. Like there's a bunch of people that are being really like, there's a photo of fucking James Earl Jones in here. No way he's only 44. Anyway. So this is, he finds him again and they find an old video of when he was younger. And, it's also crazy in this video. If you're not watching on YouTube, he in 1999 or whenever it was that this video is that the other person on TikTok had of him randomly, he looks like every person in 2025 still. Like his style. Here, I'll play it for the viewer, but yeah.
What's up, man?
What's up, man? One of my followers sent me footage of OG when he's a kid walking the streets of New York, and I'm gonna show it to him and see if it's really him.
Good.
Am I interrupting?
You can talk to him.
Yeah, it's good to see you, man.
So I want to ask you something.
Well, let me ask you something real quick.
What do you look for when you take a picture?
I look for people that are different.
Different, huh?
Yeah, they gotta be different, man.
Is it really you?
Yep, that's me.
Yo, how old are you in this video?
Oh man, I'm 18 years old.
18?
1999 or something. I was out filming.
Yeah, 18 in 1999, which means 26 plus 18 is 44. Motherfucker, there's math is not working. That can't possibly be right. this guy has lived a rough 26 years. Is that too rude? Is that too mean? Anyway. So yeah, some other person found him, this Alex guy. I want to try and find the original interaction that they had.
Say again, I didn't hear you.
I said real photographers use film.
Real photographers use film.
I want to ask you something.
Okay.
Tell me one major gallery accepting digital prints. Tell me one.
You don't like digital, huh?
Tell me one. No, I'm asking you a question. You claim to be a photographer. Tell me one major art gallery where people auction and bid stuff on.
What an insane question. What if the guy isn't that far along in his career? What if he has no idea about galleries? What if he's just doing this for fun and you're grilling him about what major galleries in New York accept digital? I'm going to do a little Google search really quick. So this is from SF MoMA, one of the first American museums to recognize photography as an art form. SF MoMA's photography collection encompasses work from daguerreotypes made in the first years of the medium's existence to digital imagery produced by experimental contemporary artists. SF MoMA accepts digital imagery. So what the fuck are you talking about? Many prominent institutions have dedicated departments or a strong history of acquiring and showcasing digital and time-based media art. MoMA, National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C., Whitney Museum of American Art in New York, LACMA. Yeah, like that is such a stupid thing to suggest that it's not real art because a gallery doesn't accept it. And even then it doesn't make sense because galleries do accept digital photography. So, well, I just don't understand this like elitist, like, what's the word when you put a wall up? Inaccessibility. Like, I don't know. Just continuing to uphold these outdated ideas of like what is and isn't art and what is acceptable mediums of art. It's just so silly, dude. So I saw that video around the same time that all these Vanity Fair photos came out. I think, again, it's a good segue to talk about like, okay, what is and isn't art? Like, is film photography art? Is digital photography art? Because the photos from Christopher Anderson, where he photographed a bunch of the prominent White House figures, chief of staff, press secretary, vice president, secretary of state, he used digital photography. And you can't tell me that this isn't art. You know, it got published in Vanity Fair. Is that art enough? It wasn't a museum, but these very easily could be museum pieces. So yeah, Christopher Anderson photographed a bunch of, he did portraits in a very interesting way. Many of them extreme close-ups where people's faces fill the entire frame. You know, there's a lot of underlying things about this and how photography can be utilized beyond what I think people are accustomed to. You know, when you think portrait, you think nicely lit, you know, 3/4 framing of the head with enough headroom and space and, you know, basic stuff. So when you take, especially, you know, a politician and frame him completely filling out the frame, can't even see the edges of his skull, it informs a lot of how you feel about this person. And it puts them in a realm outside of being just a normal person. Like, this is a person who takes up space figuratively, right? Being a part of, especially this administration. And they're very powerful images. They're also very grotesque in some regard, specifically the Carolyn Levitt close-up portrait, where you can see what look like filler injection sites on her lips, and every crease and wrinkle of her completely actually 27-year-old skin. She has the skin of like an 80-year-old. It's so crazy. But this is the stuff that you don't see about people on, on Fox News when they're 30 feet away from the camera, or what they themselves post on their own personal social media, where it's all airbrushed and everything. God, I can't keep looking at this photo. She's just staring through me. But I think this is, again, where the debate between is digital or film, is the medium with which you capture these images really at all a part of what makes them art-worthy. These are art. He is a photojournalist who shot these on both film and digital, and he's worked in war and documentary photography. He has a pretty, well, I don't know how famous they are, but somebody posted some photos he took of some, God, I wish I had this written down. He has a series of photos when he's on a refugee, like Haitian refugee boat, that are really compelling. And those are art. Pretty sure those were shot on digital as well. So, but anyway, there was an interview I found with him, and I took some notes about what his kind of intent was, where like some of the photos, I mean, they're not all close-ups either. God, I feel like I'm all over the place with this episode trying to talk about art. I apologize. Some of the other photos too, it's like JD Vance standing next to a light switch and a thermostat, right? All the way up against the wall. Like the way that he's posing these people and the things he is intentionally leaving in the photo, I think is also very fascinating. It's not a clean, perfectly tidied room, I saw some jokes about why he left the light switches and things on, because there's those people online who like figure out how tall somebody actually is based on the things in the room around them, where they take like a light switch and they find out exactly how big that light switch cover is, and then multiply it, down the floor to where their heel is, and then add it all up to find out exactly how tall this person is. You could do this with JD Vance and figure out exactly how tall it is. And people are making jokes that like, that's why he left him in. Because I'm sure JD Vance is definitely one of those guys. It's like, I'm 6 feet tall and he's like 5'9". But anyway, regardless of that, leaving this stuff in, this sort of ugly, mechanical, unappealing things in the frame. Also, it kind of changes the way you view these people and this place, the White House, right? Typically, you look at the White House and the people that occupy it, and you go, okay, they're politicians. There's some level of sort of power that comes along with that authority. You don't imagine the White House and think about all the thermostats and extension cords and surge protectors. I think there's a photo of Marco Rubio where he's standing like a loose marionette doll, and you can see on the floor the wire insulation meant to hide like telephone lines, and it's like unfinished. There's like a foot of exposed conduit down on the bottom. The framing is kind of adjacent. Again, I don't know what he's doing. It looks like he's about to fall asleep standing up like a horse. But, then you've got even little things that people were pointing out in this photo of like Carolyn Levitt, where there's a wrinkle in the very tasteful American flag blanket over the chair and a big butt indent in the seat. These things in a normal, well, not normal, that's the wrong word, in a more manicured set would be taken care of and fixed and fluffed and straightened. And Christopher Anderson didn't do any of that. There was no stylist. It was just him taking their portraits in these places without touching anything up, and even their faces. And oh, Jesus Christ, the Susie Collins one, she makes that same face in every one of these photos. It's nuts. Look at her back there. She has the same, who's Charlie Kirk's wife? What's her name? They have the same eyes. All these lunatics have the same stare. It's like a Furby staring at you, waiting for you to replace its batteries. It's why are you looking at me like that? Smile, something. Jesus Christ. But that intensity is also heightened by the way that he has framed these portraits. And it's a fascinating look at, these people who are clearly human. They have wrinkles. They are aging. They are not long for this earth, right? I think ultimately these photos kind of show the temporary nature of authority and people in power. And it does a really good job kind of breaking all of that down for the average person through art. And it doesn't, at the end of the day, it does not matter if it was shot on film or it was shot on digital. If you can make the viewer feel something or recontextualize some long held belief, it doesn't matter what the medium is. It just doesn't. And then this fucking guy with his Hitler Youth haircut, Jesus Christ. So these were a fascinating series of photos that I think were very powerful, that I wanted to talk a little bit about. Speaking of recontextualizing or deconstructing the past and past events and history, creepy goon photos from Epstein Island. I mean, Jesus Christ. Like, what do you even say about these? I mean, this one is just a photo of one of these fucking massage rooms, and it's just covered with naked women art. And look, I've got a couple of naked ladies on my walls in photographic form, but not to this extent. This is not tasteful. And again, knowing the context and what fucking happened in these rooms makes it all the more creepy. So yeah, all of these photos of criminals who have probably either just engaged in or are about to engage in horrific acts were released. And it's, in any other instance, you would look at these photos and go like, oh, these are vacation photos. But oh God, the Dan Flash shirts that Epstein and Clinton are wearing. I don't know how much joking about this is appropriate and how much of it is not. I don't even really know what to say in terms of like these photographs. The thing with photographs is, as opposed to another art form, I was thinking about this the other day, is photography is sort of the closest medium with which you can capture a moment in real time, unadulterated, right? Paintings, there's bias, there's style, there's exaggeration that can be added. Photography kind of, for the most part, not always, kind of eliminates any of that, right? I mean, you look at crime scene photos like these, and it's like, nope, that's the place where those crimes happened, right? The awful gaudy gold inlays, that's a real thing that was there that these perverts thought was a good idea to use to decorate their pervert island, their sex crimes island, Law and Order sex crime island. I mean, you can do that with photography, right? You can embellish things. I mean, we just looked at how the extreme close-ups of Christopher Anderson's photos kind of distort what we are accustomed to in how we perceive people and specific figures, specifically people in positions of power and authority. But a lot of the time, it's just capturing a mundane scene, or what would otherwise be a mundane scene, you know, where a lot of the context and backstory is what actually informs how we perceive the photo. So, like, again, looking at this photo of what I'm pretty sure it's Ghislaine Maxwell swimming in a pool with Bill Clinton. If we didn't know any of the stuff that happened on this island, in this place, with these people, you would look at this and just be like, it's like a poorly framed photo of some people swimming in a pool. But because we do know what the fuck was going on, it completely changes how we view this piece of media, with a certain kind of heaviness, a certain kind of dread almost. So I think that's also a fascinating aspect of photography as an art form, is that the events that surround the photo itself, right? Not just the rule of thirds and composition and leading lines and like all these basic things of what makes quote unquote art good. The theory aspect of art is all of the things surrounding the photos. So these all came out, and I mean, we've seen that one. And then there's this foot photo, dude. So the other thing with these is, like, not only are they writing, these are apparently lines from fucking Lolita, writing these. Can I even put this on YouTube? I feel like I'm gonna have to blur this out. It's just a foot with pen handwritten lines on it, but again, because it feels creepy, because I know what was going on, this feels like it's gonna get flagged on YouTube. And it's just a foot. Whose foot? Yikes. Don't want to think about that. So, I mean, again, though, this foot photo I think is so fascinating, because not only did they write little weird, creepy, like, this is some serial killer shit that you would write on a corpse if you were going around committing sex crimes. But not only that, they then took a photo of it. For who? Some creepy pervert's jerk box. Noam Chomsky and Epstein, Bill Gates and some woman who looks very comfortable. More handwritten stuff from Lolita on a woman's chest, on her hip. I didn't actually look at, I think I missed this one. She was Lola in slacks. You fucking, oh, and on her neck. I definitely haven't looked at all these. Down her spine. Yeah, these are creepy shit, man. The power of photography in all contexts. Oh, God. Oh, and then these are just screenshots, people's passports. Awesome stuff. Steve Bannon, the foot again. Oh, I've gone around in circles now. So there was a lot of photography stuff that came out in the last several weeks that I wanted to talk about, because I'm a fan of photography. I've done it for a long time. It's the only thing I think I've ever really been good at. And seems like a weird time to be like, go to my website and check out my photography. But it is Harlan Spinks, maybe .com. I always forget. Yeah, .com. And I have some photos that I've taken that people, you can go look at if you want. Again, feels like weird time to plug this. But yeah, I love the power of photography. Okay, I gotta close this because that's the foot again. The power of photography and how it's not one thing or the other. You know, that first guy that we talked about just still rings out in my head looking at all of these different examples of photography. I'm not saying that the Epstein photos are art by any means. I'm sure whoever took them thought that they were art. That's for sure. But I just think that it has the ability to just be so many different things. The other thing I wanted to talk about too, when I was talking about the Christopher Anderson photos is, his, I don't want to say refusal, but him not cleaning up these spaces to take these photos and getting real close up portraits that you can see all the people's pores and wrinkles and filler injections. It reminded me of kind of an opposite to that, an antithesis to that type of photography, was somebody like Annie Leibovitz, who, especially in her later years, got a lot of criticism for the way she is unable to light subjects, how everything feels very posy and clean and crisp also surreal and weird settings sometimes. And it's also interesting with her because she started shooting in a similar way, very photojournalistic kind of style, not street photography like we know it today, but just people in real settings. They're unfiltered people, right? To then go and become a studio photographer who can't fucking shoot people of color. Makes them look gray. It's crazy. And how far she has gone and how dependent she is on like a team to basically set everything up for her, where then she just comes in and presses a button. It's her trajectory as an artist is fascinating to me, and it's crazy that they still let her take photos for, I think it's what's the big one? What's the big fashion magazine that does the September issue? I know the September issue and not the name of the Vogue. Jesus. I think she's a Vogue photographer. And they keep letting her get away with it. Like this one that came out in November of Timothée Chalamet. What is this? They just shot him on a green screen? It's such a bizarre trajectory of her style. Like this photo of Anne Hathaway, she looks like a corpse. She can't even shoot white people. Everything is teal and pale pink. It's such a weird... She's so boring. I wanted to do... I had an idea for a YouTube video where I was going to talk about photography and Annie Leibovitz and what is she doing? What are these color palettes? She's like the Christopher Nolan of photographers. Every Christopher Nolan is like this shade. So those were that was the photo stuff I wanted to talk about. Oh, the last photo thing I wanted to talk about was this incredible photo of Jake Paul getting his shit absolutely rocked. A picture is worth 1,000 broken jaws. Fantastic. Praise this cameraman. All-time cameraman. I know I started this off by saying I was only putting this one up because it was so visual. There were so many visuals that I wanted to include in it, but I also feel like just shoving it over on Patreon isn't going to get the attention that I want it to, which, why am I making them if no one's going to watch them? So I don't know. Maybe I'll still keep putting them up on YouTube. Maybe they'll just be early releases on Patreon. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Oh, I should have looked to see if anybody sent in any submissions. I don't believe so because I haven't done one of these in so fucking long. Let me pull it up just in case. Yeah, so I haven't, no one has submitted any questions for like advice or anything. I have an old one from last month. I can read really quick from a user. Before I do though, there's a link in the description. You can go submit questions or advice, ask me anything stuff. And it doesn't have to be advice. It can be, I don't know, stuff for me to look at, content, maybe ask for my opinion on a thing that happened that I missed or whatever. So you should go submit some of those for in a month when I do another episode. This comes from Mac Lipstick. This summer, I got sober from alcohol and I feel amazing. What is your go-to beverage now that you don't drink anymore? Any advice or tips you would give to people who have stopped drinking and now are adjusting to new social dating life? It's been relatively easy for me, but I value anything I can Jesus. I can potentially learn from a person who's wiser, questionable, has been sober longer. So, let's see. I get a lot of questions about my sobriety because I've made multiple videos and I talk about my sobriety all the time. I think I've kind of maybe answered some of this. My go-to drink is guava LaCroix. This shit rules. There's also a blackberry cucumber one. Brother. Yeah, it's awesome. And then I also like the cranberry pomegranate yerba mate, the sparkling ones and the little Red Bull cans. Those are my go-to drinks now. Anytime I go to somebody's house for like dinner or a movie or something like that, I always bring like 3 of them with me because I don't trust that they're going to have the good LaCroix, or like a weird bad LaCroix, like the cherry LaCroix. Yuck. Anyway, any advice or tips you would give to people who have stopped drinking and are now adjusting to a new social dating life? Well, this is the thing. I quit drinking during the pandemic, and the pandemic has, I think, fucked me up. I mean, it's fucked a lot of people up in terms of just like their social skills, because it's not like I don't do much stuff. I go to work, I come home, all my friends are married. I have been going out, trying to go out more and saying yes to more things. So I think maybe that would be my advice, is say yes to more things, even if it feels inconvenient, because guess what? Having friends is inconvenient. It's never going to be convenient, but that's kind of the point, is to put yourself in situations that are hard in order to have healthy, strong relationships and people that you can rely on and talk to and blah, 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 and all that stuff. It's going to be inconvenient to put yourself out there. So say yes to more things, and always bring a LaCroix with you. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, everybody's different too. Like, I'm very comfortable being alone, right? I always think of that line from Heat that Robert De Niro's character, Neil McCulley, says, where he says, I am alone, but I am not lonely. I feel very much like Robert De Niro in that movie. No, that's not what I mean. But I that resonates with me. And I'm okay with that, right? Like, I know there are some people that that it makes them depressed. It's hard for them to be alone. They have to go see people. So, if you're one of those people, anything I say might not have any bearing on your life, right? It's easy for me to be alone. I can find things to do by myself. I mean, dude, I literally, like I said, spent the last 2 or 3 weeks playing 5 different video games, completely content. I made friends with fictional polygons on my TV. That's that's my advice. Make friends with Ellie and Joel and Miles and Peter. So stupid. Yeah, that's my advice. It's not really my advice. It's just different for each person, and you just have to kind of figure it out on your own. That's bad advice. Jesus Christ. This advice is getting worse the longer I talk. So I think it's a good place for me to end this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that my art photography analysis made sense. I'm really worried that anybody that watches that is gonna rip me a new one for not making any goddamn sense. Talking about art, I think, is what I am most worried about the response to when making content now. I don't know why that is. The next video that I'm writing a script for is about like film criticism, essentially. And I'm very worried about how it's going to be received and how many holes are in my argument and logic. Because I care about this stuff. I think that's why it makes me nervous. I love movies and I love film criticism and I love the power of movies, and I also love photography and what you can do with that. So anytime I open my mouth about what I believe in that realm makes me nervous. That's just a little what's going on with me. All right. Until next time, everybody, thank you so much. Go look at my website. Go submit questions. Go to patreon.com/HarlanSpinks. $1 for all of my content ad-free. That includes the sponsored ad reads that are baked into the videos. I get rid of those in the Patreon videos too. So go there and you can watch those for $1 a month. I do early releases for $2. And there's a $5 one, but like I don't have enough time to make behind the scenes type extra content. I really want to make extra content. I've been playing around with the idea of doing extended cuts of certain videos, like those React videos I was doing, leaving a lot more stuff in. I mean, the first, maybe the second one I did was like almost an hour long of footage. Probably 40-ish minutes of it was really usable, and I cut it down to like 25. So let me know if you would be interested in like longer cuts of stuff, because I can just cut for Patreon and then cut for YouTube. But anyway, I have ideas of stuff I want to do. I'm not very motivated to do it until the mood strikes me. And that mood, you know, has been few and far between. Anyway, not to get too deep, or this is already too long, just say bye and stop recording. All right, thank you so much. Until next time, vanish.